Hi there folks, I'm Laurie from Bevvy and I've got the absolute privilege of opening this very special whiskey and finding out if the liquid inside matches up to the incredible story that inspired it.
So St Nazaire is such a critical target in 1942 because its docks there are where the Tirpitz is being repaired. And what they want to do is they're worried about this huge battleship going out into the Atlantic and wreaking havoc on Allied shipping. Because although there's not many German surface vessels at this stage, one vessel running amok can cause absolute carnage. So what they want to do is get it out of Brittany and they want to get it back to Germany or up into Norway or whatever, but well out of the way of the Atlantic coast. So the idea is to cripple the dry dock where it's being repaired. And they come up with this absolutely insane idea, which is to run an aging ship that they no longer need, which is going to be the Campbeltown, straight into the gates of the dry dock and ram it there. I mean, it is a bonkers idea. I mean, it's so sort of brazen, and that's the plan. This dry dock at St Nazaire, it's the only one that can house a ship that's so enormous. I mean, you're talking about a 42,000 ton vessel, the Tirpitz. There were two of them. The Germans only ever had two battleships. They had the Bismarck, which was sunk at the end of May 1941 by the British, and then they've got the Tirpitz. And they've neutralised the Bismarck, now they need to neutralise the Tirpitz. They can't just come in and bomb it because it's a really difficult target. It's really hard to accurately bomb at this stage of the war. Bomber command gets really good by the end of the Second World War, but in 1942, it can barely hit a barn door at kind of 50 yards. So they think the only way they're going to be able to do it is to sort of come in at night and attack with this old vessel, which will just ram the gates, the lock gates of this dry dock. So overall on this force, there were 346 naval personnel who were, manning the Campbeltown and so on, manning the ships involved. But there were 265 commandos. So these guys are all volunteers. They're all given rigorous training up in Scotland. These are the special forces that we've come so familiar with in the modern age. These are the kind of their early iteration. So they're physically incredibly tough and strong. They're very good at endurance. They're all volunteers, so they're all gung-ho. They can use their initiative. They're just the best trained troops that the British Armed Forces have. Job of these 265 chosen men was to destroy a whole load of other installations around the port. So the idea was for the Campbeltown to be packed with delayed action explosives, ram the dry dock gates, and then it would kind of blow up. But while that was going on and there was pandemonium, the commandos would beetle around destroying a whole load of other stuff with clusters of TNT and grenades and gammon bombs and a whole load of other stuff, and just basically shoot up the place and destroy as much as they possibly could. And it has to be said that this was a very, very big ask, because you're going right into the very heart of the hornet's nest, and every single one of those 265 commandos is going to know that their chance of them getting back to England again were limited, to say the least. So as the Campbeltown is, first of all, it's having trouble getting across the narrow shoals and the mouth of the estuary, but it scrapes the bottom, but it manages to get through. It charges up. It's going about like 19 knots, something like that. So it's going pretty fast. Enemy spots it, starts to open fire, just keeps going. The guy one of the guys on the bridge is killed. He's replaced. Captain Beatty just knows he's just got to absolutely go for it. And it's about 1:34 a.m., something like that, on the 28th of March, that it just plows into the doors of the dry dock, this huge, great dry docks, and pushes 10 meters through the docks. I mean, it is incredibly successful and sits there wedged there. This kind of the whole bow of the Campbeltown is out of the water. There's photos of it. It's the most extraordinary sight, and it's extraordinary on so many levels. First of all, just to have the balls to think of it in the first place, to think of something quite so outrageous and daring, I think is just astonishing. Then to carry it out, then to succeed, and then you think of the huge personal sacrifices of all those guys that are involved, whether you be ratings in the Royal Navy or of the 265 commandos that are involved in the raid. It rightly goes down as one of the most audacious raids of all time. That's why we want to kind of evoke that spirit. And what could be better to invoke that spirit than to create a spirit of our own? And this is a specially blended whiskey which we're calling Operation Chariot.
This is a blended malt Scotch whisky. The way I look at it is you've taken two single malts, which are fantastic in their own right, brought them together to hopefully create almost the best of both. So this one, as I say, is blended malt, 15 years old, and bottled at a very generous strength of 50.5%. Let's crack it open and see how it tastes. Looking at the dram, it's got a gorgeous deep colour to it, loads of complexity to it, kind of nice soft autumnal aromas on the nose, quite toasty. Yeah, that is a stunning drop. That is a perfect winter's whiskey, perfect one to take your time with. At this strength, it's not the sort of whiskey you can just guzzle on its own, absolutely stunning. A few drops of water might help it open up as well. A real stunning dram, a real fitting tribute to an amazing story.